So let's think about now the first movement. So of course there are three kind of big choral moments besides the chorales in this work. There's the opening movement. There's the movement before the beginning of the second part. So the movement that closes part one, and then there's of course the chorale, the choral fantasia at the end. So this is one of the three pillars that we're going to discuss. This is the opening of the whole thing, and give us your take on how this opening movement of the Matthew Passion unfolds.
Now, as a conductor, I would say it just going in four, just in four, not like Mengelberg did in 12. He was going 4, 1, 4, 1,
wow.
But made Hanan Kutu rum, and I think always the good thing is in the middle. But to get started still in 4 is important, I think, for the work. Otherwise, it's just hanging around. And there should always, in every music, in every piece you perform, there should be movement. It should go somewhere. And I think in this piece as well. And I mean, then when you hear first the first choir, the first orchestra, the first choir, and then the other choir comes in, then you see actually that the double choir it works fantastic in a room. But that maybe it was at the beginning a piece for just one choir and one orchestra, because it's easy to bring it back into a version for one choir, one orchestra, and then maybe the boys' choir singing the chorale. And but the moment where the second choir comes in, the second orchestra comes in, and then the boys' choir comes in with the chorale, I think it's such an extreme beautiful moment.
It is. It's exquisite.
And be prepared when you do it. As a conductor as well, that's the glorious moment. For Bach, a chorale was an important part of his musical life. And the way he was making harmony in his chorales is unique. There's nobody who could do it so well. I think I'm a great lover of Telemann, but Telemann was not such a good composer for chorales. Maybe because his chorales were sung by the community. The choir sung with them. And Bach's chorales, if you have the community to sing, you will lose too much.
Yes.
There's too much elements which are fantastic. So I would say that cannot be. That's for the people who are singing in name of you, in name of the congregation. And but I did a live recording of the Matthäus Passion, I think in 2004, and there we had 3 organs. So we had as well an organist who played the chorale melody with his sexualter, and that was actually the tuner. He was a former student of mine.
Oh, how funny!
And he so he enjoyed playing as well the melody with it, and we had a sexualter on the organ to play. But the harmony of this work is so fantastic. The first chorus, and it can go on forever, but it will not go forever. Although it's 7 minutes music, a great piece. And when you think how many opening choirs of Bach cantatas are as long as that, they are normally a little shorter than that. And so it's a big space work, and then to see as an audience as well, to see, hey, first orchestra at the left, choir at the left, and then what is stereophonic? Because that's the next step for us as conductors. Bach didn't have space to do it stereophonic. The choir in the Thomas Church in life was not as big as it is now. So just between the pillars, and so having the basses together and the altos together, and the sopranos at the outside, I think it's the only way which I think works, because that you need for the last chorus of the first half to be together, because the bass of the orchestra and the bass of the choir is an important part for the ensemble. And if you don't want to do happiness, there's no happiness there. It's such a sadness. but the beauty there, with as well, particularly the flutes, double flutes, really going and playing, and in a church you will hear the flutes very, very well. And if you have traversos, they are of course much softer than the modern flute, but even the traversos, you will hear them very well. In the first chorus as well, but particularly in the second chorus, very beautiful. And then what I do is having the sopranos, all the sopranos, the boys as well, singing the sopran melody, because they're there.
Why not? They're there, yeah.
Yeah, and why not to have them really singing? And the time when I was singing in the boys' choir of the Matthäus Passion, all the boys had to go away because there were a few men and women who were trying to get the boys soft, because they were normally making noise, talking, making fun as boys do.
Yes.
And so after when the second half started, there were only two boys. I was one of the two who were supposed to be serious and wanted to listen. And then suddenly on such an enormous podium we were sitting, and somebody of the choir had given us a piano score that we could feel what was happening. And when it was over, we were asked questions about what did you think about the violin? And we had first place because you could see everything, because we were in the orchestra still. Fantastic. And so from that time already, I used the bad boys. We were the bad boys then. And were maybe the bad boys as well, because some of them were making extremely noise and they were very hit it. Was the drama in a drama.
Right, exactly.
Everybody was
the play within the play.
Yeah, I was happy when they were away, because now it's for silence.
Right.
And but before going to the last chorus, which is of course a fantastic piece as well, and sadness and hopeful. Let's not forget that the second choir is having the most beautiful role in the Matthäus Passion. So if I was singing in a choir, I never sung the real part of it, I have to admit, but I would always sing the second choir, because the second choir is when you think in the beginning, then the beginning of the second half, beautiful part for the second choir, always with the tenor singing in the beginning. Let me give you the title, the name, because I'm not good in titles. Yeah. It's what is called Aria 20. Ich will bei meinem Jesu wachen.
Right.
With a beautiful oboe solo, and where the tenor is singing, Ich will bei meinem Jesu wachen, and then the choir singing, so schlafen alle Sünde ein. So all sins are as well sleeping. So there's hope.
It's gorgeous.
And then the other one that I called is Ach, nun is mijn Jesu hin. Begins the second half. Beautiful choir. Wo ist denn dein Freund hingegangen? Is the choir singing. And one of the great moments of the Matthäus Passion. So let's not forget that next to all the tuba choirs, that those moments are there of most intimate, being part of the drama. Great moments, really great.
Absolutely. And of course, the second choir, it's funny that you should say that you would prefer to be in the second choir if you were going to sing it, because of course it might be a little bit easier for the opening, because they ask the questions, right? So the choir one maybe are characters from the Bible or saints who have gone, and they're saying, come share this, let me essentially tell you this story. And choir two says, who, wohin, and was, sie, etwas, and so they're asking, they're asking just these simple questions of choir one, who's about to unfold this tragic tale.
But very effective.
Yes, absolutely.
And it's interesting that in the B minor Mass, there's a bass aria where the choir has to do that. And so it's something which Bach is using more often, huh? the collaboration between choir soloists. And what I think in the first chorus, important as well, when you say the questions are asked, so often in the Johannes Passion as well, the begin choir, where the choir is aggressive. And I think nobody would dare to address God aggressive. Maybe one time, say, "Oh, I'm so sorry, that was too loud." And for me, this intimate idea as well is there as well. When the questions are asked in the first chorus of the Matthäus Passion, have variety in the dynamic. It doesn't need to be loud the whole time. And I think as well, I play with it. If you see a performance of mine, then you would see that I sign to the choir. They have in that part something stand, and I sign, and they see with my movement, with my mouth, what I want from them. And of course, if you work with like my Amsterdam Baroque choir, which is a professional choir, the best Baroque choir in the world, I would say, they're expecting that I change. They would be sad if I would always do the same.
Ah, yes.
And if you see this, it means there's something I want it softer. Then they think I might do it. So I think as well, for a conductor, a role is as well be part of a lively dynamic, be part of a lively performance. And if you practice, of course, you should perform it well. And I know many of the amateur choirs, they are sometimes working for 3-4 months on it. I have the luxury that I work with a professional choir, and I think now we have done it so often, I think the choir could even do it without rehearsal. But I still rehearse with the choir myself. I have three choir rehearsals, and my assistant is still doing something to build up the sound as well. So I really take care for the choir. For me, the choir is essential in the performance of Matthäus Passion, Johannes Passion, any cantata of Bach. And so as well, this should be used to the fact that everything can happen.
Yeah.
And I think that makes then in the choir you can ask, huh? Wo? Oui?
Right. Yeah. So with all this information, let's have our audience listen with us to the opening of the St. Matthew Passion, and then we'll come back and talk about it to end. So here is the first movement of the Matthew Passion.
I only can say every time we do it again, and I might have done it 200 times now. So many times. Every time again, you feel tiny. You feel a little boy who is allowed to attack a masterwork of somebody much greater than you. And I'm feeling the whole time when I do a masterwork like this, Bach is looking over my shoulder, and I'm glad
Pressure.
when he will say, yeah, and I hope that he will say, not bad. I care. I care for his music. I care to understand what he wants, and that's my credo in the whole Matthias one. And then, of course, there are fantastic other moments, fantastic arias. Think for the duet with St. Vincent in Donna. Great moment for the choir. A great moment for the organist as well, where maybe he can play too loud. But there's thunder and lightning going on. It's as well a Baroque work, like the in the Requiem of Mozart, the what's the title? Pum, 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 pum. No, directly in the Requiem of Mozart, Dies Irae. Yeah, you see, which is as well a Baroque piece of thunder and lightning.
Right.
And it should be like that, and you should enjoy it like that. So as well, the moment like where in a tragedy of Shakespeare, there's a moment where a comic is coming up, where people can laugh a moment. I think here is nice,
right.
And drama goes on, and I think this moment of the duet where we have all the appoggiaturas, the what to do with it, what the lengths. I think it's something you have to consider because pom pim pom 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 pim pom 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 pom. Often you hear that. Appoggiatura is an ornament. Could be. You can go. An appoggiatura is more or less half of the length of the note, which should be the wall. So do it once.
Right.
And try your soloists to convince to do that because they are used so much to do something else. And of course, it's dangerous to do something else because suddenly they are standing there much more open than maybe they want to be. But as well, they're open for the emotion of the work.
Sure. Well, it's such an emotional work and such a structural kind of there's a certain amount of scaffolding and structure to the Matthew Passion that is just phenomenal to see realized, and people like you I'm so grateful for who can sort of open the bring open the veil a little bit and help us sort of understand the work better. So thank you for your work on this over the years, and thank you for your interpretation of Bach. And I think Bach is very happy with everything that you've given us, the world.
I said once in an interview that I try to be a good student of Bach.
Right.
And because you can never perform a work by Bach like Bach did himself. He's too genius for that. We were just too tiny for that. But we should try to understand. And if you see so many students of Bach, think for his sons, how different they were. Karl Friedemann, Johann Christian, Johann Christoph Friedrich, the Buchenburger, but as well Kierenberger, very dry guy. Completely different people are around. And maybe there's a little space for me. And I think that's the same thing for a conductor like you and all other conductors performing music. I understand people like Hanon Koer and many others. We did a lot of work, but let it not be something that makes you afraid to do it yourself. Do it yourself. It's too big a masterwork not to do it. And so discover things. Maybe discover some things where we were wrong.
Okay.
And I never think about Hanon Koer or Leonard being wrong, but two important people doing it so different.
Sure.
So what is the truth? Maybe there are many truths to perform a great masterwork like the Matthias one and many others. And maybe a little bit of your signature have to be there as well. But try to be a good person who understands the time of Bach. Try to understand what he was thinking about making music, and never think on an affiche big, my name and Bach small, like to happen still.
That happens, absolutely.
We are allowed to do it.
Yeah, good. Yeah. Well, I think challenge accepted. I think I will have to try and be a good student of Bach and do the Matthew Passion and the John Passion very soon, I hope. So all from your inspiration. Thank you very much for having this wonderful conversation about Bach and about the St. Matthew Passion. And Maestro Koopman, I hope you stay safe and healthy during this strange time, and I'm sure we will see each other again soon.
Yeah, thank you for a nice conversation. And nice to have time to talk. And and I look forward to meet you again in Washington or somewhere else. And have a great time with the music, and as well, stay very safe.
Yes, and thank you very much, everyone, for joining us. And until next week, stay safe and healthy and sane, and keep the music going. Thank you so much.